Hey guys, welcome to the third episode of my own podcast series called TravelingTice Podcast. Um, I recently started another podcast series with my friend The One Good Road. That's actually also the second episode of this podcast series, but we kind of made our own podcast series called the Traveling the Good Road. So it's kind of like a combination with Traveling Tice and The One Good Road. So yeah, that's also on my website on a SoundCloud playlist, but that's going to be a different playlist. So this is just episode number 3, another monologue episode, and this time it is about something very deep because, very deep. It's about the inner purpose and the reason why I do what I do, basically, and maybe let you think about what you're doing and if that really is what you want to do in life. But anyway, so that's it. That's what today's podcast episode is going to be about. First, a little update. I'm still at home. It is currently the 18th of April, 2018, and I'm going to leave in 1 month and a week. 1 month, 7 days. It's going to be May 25th. That's my leaving date. I set that as the leaving date, but it is, I think, about 5th. I would say about 60% sure that I'm going to leave on that exact date. Probably later. That's a 40% chance that it's going to be later, like 39%, like 1% earlier, but no, like 0.0. Anyway, so yeah, it's going really well. I've been home now for, almost 6 months, almost half a year. That is insane. Like, the memories from my first bike tour, the European bike tour part 1, so freshly in my mind. It feels like it happened yesterday. I just came back home. And since then, this feeling of being, stuck at one place, being home. I have this daily job where I bring newspapers 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. in the morning. I get up, do these newspapers, and then during the day I do the things that I need to do. But it's not really it's definitely not the same as the bike tour. Like, that was like every day was different, and yeah, just a totally different way of living. And also, since I am back home, especially around after like 3 to 4 months when I completed my education for web development, doing all these things. I was very busy with that. But right now, or after that 4-month period, it was about in beginning of March, I kind of went into this void. I didn't really have anything to do at that moment. I mean, I had to build up my portfolio, which I've done now, and make some accounts on some freelancing websites, make my own kind of business around web development. I haven't made any money with it yet, but that's coming very, very soon because I'm really, setting everything up for that as well. But yeah, I did neglect my YouTube account a little bit with that, which I am not really that proud of or not really that happy with. But right now I kind of try to pick it back up. But I feel that I cannot express or I cannot produce these videos the way that I want them here in Holland, where I live at my parents' house. I mean, I'm 18 years old, so I don't really have my own house yet. There is this tiny house movement here, which is pretty awesome because it's actually really close to where I live. There's this place where a few of these tiny houses are popping up, and I was like, that's pretty cool. Not too expensive. Really nice. I think it's really a conscious way of living that, and I love it. So I might, later in life when I do want to get to a fixed place, might think of that. But right now, the only thing that I want is get back on the road. And once I got into that void, once I was kind of like, what to do now, I started feeling that I really wanted to get back, and I started to become a little bit negative in my thinking. So yeah, that's what we're gonna talk about to try to get that back on track for the next trip. yeah, so that's what this is about. This is about purpose. That's also the negativity. It was a little bit about purpose. It was a little bit about how to live your life. And I think it also has to do that. It also has to do with the fact that here in Holland, where I live, in the situation I am, I don't have really a lot of people around me that have that travel mindset or that free living kind of mindset. Like most people here have a job to do, um, and I only speak with those people, which kind of, you know, keeps my activities right now a little limited. So when you're surrounded with these people, you're kind of starting to become like these people, or it's not really what I wanted um, right now. And I'm right now reaching out to people like Joseph from the Run Good Road, really cool guy. We made a few live stream podcasts together. Some didn't really work out that well. If you listen to, I think there were 3 live streams that totally failed because my internet connection was bad, or his internet connection was bad, and we were also basically at the other side of the planet. Like I'm in Holland, and he is currently in New Zealand, and he was at the time of the live stream. So it was pretty hard to plan because our time zones were also like totally opposite. So it was pretty funny to do. But yeah, that really did bring me up back to, you know, kind of like, oh, there are other people that are doing this, and you know, what are they thinking? What are their opinions and views on life? So anyway, let's actually start with the subject of today. And I've wrote this whole page full of stuff that I came up with on one newspaper morning thing. It's about 3 hours every morning, and I think like this morning I had this feeling that this is actually one of the most beautiful jobs, just because of the fact that you're active, you're outside. I'm cycling, I'm on a bicycle, and you get to see the sunrise. Like it is early. Like I start at 4 a.m. and I'm finished at around 8 a.m. So that's about four hours of work. It doesn't pay a whole lot, but for now it's pretty good, especially for my bike tour. Pretty much all the money, by the way, goes to the bike tour. I spend as minimal as I can. But I really enjoyed it because, you know, you hear all these birds, and it really, you know, once you know what to do, you know, what papers you need to deliver to what houses, like you get that routine going, then your mind starts to go places and you start to think about things. And this note or this idea, this, I don't know, like a realization or something, came up one of these morning routines. So I'm gonna go through it a little bit because I think this is from, I think, about a month ago that I already wanted to do this podcast, but I postponed it like 100 times. So anyways, so the first line says, everyone has this inner purpose, a reason to be here on this planet, a path they are here to walk on. I don't know if that's like a good sentence. Anyway, so the reason that I thought of this, because the last weeks I've been kind of thinking about, you know, what is this purpose and how to really listen to it. Started watching some videos about it and doing all that stuff. And I think what I came up with here is pretty good. So the thing is that some people are walking a path that doesn't correspond with their inner purpose. So maybe they're walking a path that other people wanted them to walk on. And maybe they forgot about their own purpose. So how do you find your inner purpose? So yeah, then I thought about how do you find that inner purpose? So I wrote down, consider this. Have you ever thought, I would like to do something. I would like to be something, or I would like to have something. Like, do you have any dreams? Do you have anything that you really want to do? So if nothing came up, then you would have to think harder, because I think that everyone has a dream, something they would love to do in their life. So next up, you would have to ask yourself, am I actively taking steps to make my dream come true? If yes, good, keep going because you're going into the right direction. If no, well, why not? Are you walking a path other people wanted you to walk? Maybe the steps you need to do to make your dreams come true are full of risk or scary. Well, that's actually probably true. Anyway, so this is where the inspiring part comes in, which is the purpose of traveling Tice. This is all what I wrote down. It's pretty good. Uh, so for me, inspiring means showing that if I can follow the path I am here for, so can you. So yeah, this is really what inspiring is for me. So inspiring, a lot of people, other people like me, like bicycle touring people, they talk about this, why they do this, and they say, I want to inspire you. So here I kind of want to explain it a little bit better. So what does it really mean to me to inspire other people? So yeah, there are people that are walking the path that doesn't really correspond with their inner purpose. Yeah, it's kind of like, if you have anything that you really want to do, like I want to travel. I love travel. It's the thing that I want to do. I really enjoy it, meeting other people that way. So that's what I really want to do. And I say here, I say here that that's my inner purpose. Right now, I wouldn't really accept that anymore, I think, because it's something I really enjoy doing. But I think in the end, the ultimate purpose of us is serving other people. It's actually doing something for humanity, for community, any of that sort. So that's kind of what happened after this thing. I kind of developed on it, thought more about it. So it goes really deep. I'm sorry about this podcast going really deep, but yeah, it's like this is what I have been, what has kept me busy over the last month or two or something. About what I really want to do with what I'm doing. So as I said, I love travel. I love exploring new places, and I think you can get a whole lot out of that if it's really what you want. But there are people that want that. They want to travel. They want to do all these things, but they think that they can't do it, or they think that you can only do it in limits. There are certainly advantages to not doing what you love to do all the time, because then it becomes boring. But I think that living freely, living the way like independently financially, or any other way, like location independent, I think there is something that you can really get out of that way of living, or just doing it that way. Like right now, I feel kind of trapped to be here, having this job every morning, doing the same thing over and over again. It kind of feels like that life is passing by right now. It's just going on, and it's already been like 6 months like that. It's insane. It's double the amount that I spent on the road. And on the road, it seems like that time, that little frame of time was like, I don't know, like 10 times as much as the last 6 months have been for me. Because I've been doing the same thing every single day, basically. Well, almost every day. I mean, there was a routine. But yeah, I really enjoyed, just exploring and going out and doing things that really scare me. But there are people that haven't really realized this yet. That they think that, working... I think there are certainly people that want to work and that makes them satisfied. I'm actually really admiring those people, because I'm not I'm not the guy. There are really people that can get their purpose out of what they're doing, and I really, really admire them for that. That they're doing that. That's kind of what I want to accomplish, and this is the way that I want to do that. So yeah, this is where the inspiring comes in. So there are people that don't think they can go on this trip. They cannot do what they really want to do. And I want to show them that it's actually possible. So I don't have a lot of money. I have earned about 90%, I would say 95% of the budget for my trips myself. A little bit is donated by Patreon, but that's I would say it's also kind of earned, but not really. No, it's given. It's given to me to do this, which is amazing. I really love Patreon. I don't have a lot of Patreons. I think like 2 or something, but this is not the only thing. The other thing is I still get pocket money from my parents, which I don't really understand. But anyway, It's not a lot, but the rest, like 95%, I basically earn myself through the jobs that I have. Right now, I'm trying to earn it through this location independent thing where I want to become a freelancer and do web development tasks. So it's not really going that smoothly yet, but I hope that it will pick up later, and I'll actually get to make some good money with that as well. So yeah, this is where my story is kind of important because I try with my YouTube channel to really get a story out there that's real. It's really me. This is who I am. And also, that's also where this podcast comes in. Like, I really want this podcast to be kind of like a log of my life. Kind of like, I don't know, like a plug? Would you call it that? I don't know. Um, but basically, like, I want to look back or listen back to this podcast in like, I don't know, like 15 or 20 years. And I don't know. I think that will be very something that will be very relieving or something. But a lot of people actually, when they watch your old vlogs, they get so happy. Or just if you have any old video footage or photos or audio recordings, anything like 10 years old. Recently, I watched some really old VHS tapes. We still have a VHS player. It's kind of insane. It's still hooked to our TV downstairs. I think we're in like the 1% people that still have that here in Holland. But we still have those VHS tapes from when I was little. And for this video called Bicycle Touring the Netherlands, Everything You Need to Know, which is a video about bicycle touring in the Netherlands, I did that on my YouTube channel. You can check that out if you want. I'll put a link in the description of this podcast, on my website basically. And I had to find this segment of me cycling when I was, I don't know, I think I was like 4 or 5 years old when I started to cycle without those training wheels at the side. Or that's actually the footage that I found of myself, and I thought that was pretty cool for this video. But I also went through some tapes to find that, and you know there were all these old things. Like our neighborhood looked so different back then. Like it has been improved a lot, by the way. It used to be pretty ugly, but right now it used to be full of flats, like all those old flat buildings, which are right now beautifully made, renewed. The section where we live is actually kind of the same. But anyways, also our just everything, like the clothes we wore back then were a little different, but just seeing myself back then, like when I was I would say I think I was between 6 to 9 years old. I had this, I don't know, I was full of fantasy. I was a real fantasy kid. I had my own world. I pretended to be a person that I didn't, I pretended to be a guy from a TV series that I watched back then. It's kind of like an idol, but I did as if I was that guy. It was pretty amazing. I also thought I had a dog, which I didn't have. My parents, or my mother at least, allergic to dogs. But I thought I had this dog and it's amazing. And just a total fantasy world. And looking back at some of that footage where I can see that I'm in that world, is just, it's amazing to look back at that, you know? So that's why I do these things for myself. That's reason number one, for myself, to see, you know, like the state that I'm in right now. You know, like maybe in like 10 years, I would have done all these meditation things and I will be totally in control of the mind and whatsoever. Oh, sorry. And I would look back on this version of me and I'll be like, you know, I was so naive back then, or I didn't really know what to do, or, you know, just something funny. But of course, the second big reason is for you guys. So if you listened, you came all the way to this point, please say hi in the comments below or say something, because that would be awesome. Then I at least know that people are listening to this, because I didn't really have the idea that people were actually listening to my last two podcasts. But anyway, if you did, leave a comment down below what you think of the podcast, how I could improve the podcast. And yeah, that's that stuff. So this is going to be a short one. I think I wrapped everything up pretty well right now. We've been going for about 20 minutes. So yeah, I need more updates. So I will do probably one more podcast at home. over the next month before I leave for European Bike Tour Part 2. And yes, let's talk about that. So we're going to talk about a few things that I want to improve. So we're going to do this shortly. I think in the next podcast, I'm really going to go into detail about what European Bike Tour Part 2 is going to entail, what it's going to be about, the gear that I'm going to bring, the route that I'm going to cycle, all that stuff. But here I want to quickly touch on that subject. So especially I want to talk about the gear. So for the gear on European Bike Tour Part 1, I had 40 kilos of cargo, 40 kilos of gear. I think I left with 45, actually. I had three cameras, my laptop, huge power bank, huge solar panel, 2 kilo solar panel, camp stove, 2 pairs of shoes, all this stuff. And I want to get rid of all of it. Or not all of it, but a lot of it. So some things that I've been working on right now is I have replaced my click pedals, which are, well, one side normal, one side click, to just flat pedals. So they don't have any clicks anymore, or any click system, so you can't clip into them anymore. They only have a few studs on the surface so that you can grip on it with normal shoes, which brings us to the shoes. I only want to bring one pair of shoes, and these are going to be running / trail running / hiking shoes. I'm still searching for a good pair. I don't really care about the price as long as they're really sturdy, and I want to be able to run with them as well, which is something I've been picking up lately, running. Absolutely love it. Kind of inspired by Casey Neistat to do that. Because he really gets a lot out of it, and I kind of feel like I get a lot out of it too when I do it, especially in the dunes area. It really clears my mind in some ways, and it's amazing. And I really want to do this, like when I run, I already vision myself running in like New York City, right in the center, or somewhere out in the jungle, that kind of stuff. So running is gonna come in the European Bike Tour Part 2, so I'm gonna get a good pair of running shoes that I'm gonna wear pretty much always. It's like my go-to pair of shoes, and I'm still trying to search for some good shoes, but I'll talk about those in the next episode. I'm also gonna get rid of the camp stove because I'm starting in Latvia and I'm gonna cycle south. So I'm gonna go to all these Eastern European, Southern European countries, and I've heard that food there is cheap. Really cheap to get. So I really don't bother bringing this huge camp stove, dragging this thing with me all the time. It's like one full front pannier. I think the front right pannier it was, with these pans and camp stove and camp fuel and all that stuff. I'm just gonna leave all that at home. And the only thing that's gonna be in my kitchenware is gonna be probably a spork. I used to have a fork and a spoon, but I right now have a spork, which is a lot better, I think. And also a knife and maybe a lighter. And that's going to be it. Like, that's all I want to bring as kitchenware on this second bike tour. Because I know I have some techniques in mind to really get healthy food, maybe in restaurants, but also cook myself. And I'm in an Airbnb and I have a kitchen for myself. I can just buy stuff there and that kind of stuff. So I don't really need that camp stove right now. What else? I am going to keep the tent. Oh yeah, the third big major difference is the laptop. So the laptop that I have is a big old laptop. It does have a Intel Core i7, which is a pretty good specs. It was also pretty expensive, but it's really heavy, and I think it's about 5 years old, and I can already feel that it's gonna break down. It's gonna break down at least like between 1 to 2 years probably, because it's already getting some problems, and right now it's actually getting off. It's also falling out. I don't know, but the battery's dead in like 10 minutes. It's insane. So I want to upgrade to a new laptop. It's gonna be a notebook. It's not gonna be an Apple because I right now have an Asus with Windows running on it, and I can't let go of Windows. Also for web development, I really don't want to spend so much time trying to convert to a MacBook, and they're also crazy expensive. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to buy like a MacBook equivalent for Windows, kind of like a Dell. I've been looking at a Dell laptop. I think the Dell XPS 15 or something. Still quite not I think not as small as the MacBook, but a little bit cheaper and just with Windows on it, so I can feel comfortable using it a little bit better. So yeah, and I'm also gonna leave home this huge 50,000 milliamp power bank because I found that I didn't really need it. I didn't really need to have my laptop on all that time. I can much better bring a small power bank, about like 1/10 or 1/5 of the capacity of this big one, and use that to charge my phone or whatever. Whatever can be charged by USB. I'll charge this laptop whenever I'm at a place where there is power, and there are enough places to find power, even for free. You can go to a library, but I do plan to spend more time at Airbnbs or using couch surfing, which I want to get into, or warm showers, anything of that nature. Oh yeah, one more thing, and that is the solar panel upgrade. So I used to have this huge solar panel. I sent it home about halfway through the trip. 1.5 kilos, huge. It was able to charge my laptop, not fast, and I didn't really need it to charge my laptop anyways, because I found enough place to have power, and it wasn't really that efficient. So I replaced it with, the old one had 8 panels, the new one has 2 panels, and it's about 300 grams. So this one is only for my phone, Garmin, cameras, that kind of stuff. I'm gonna use it just to charge the power bank that charges the camera, etc. And I think this solution will be a little bit better, just because it's a little bit more portable, and you can be. I am then using it. I am a little bit more sustainable than only having a power bank, because then you do need to go to places. But now I can use the solar panel so I can ride for about a week straight. And then I can decide to stay somewhere for a week or two, which is another thing. I want to stay at places a little bit. I want to travel a little bit slower, basically, because right now I'm going to try to make money on the road. So I'm going to need some more time at places to do some things. So I want to travel slower, which a lot of people actually prefer over the fast travel, trying to see everything of a city in a day or two, which is actually pretty... you only get a superficial view. But when you really spend time in a city, you can see the slow change and all that sort of thing. And a lot of digital nomads really like to stay at some place for a couple of weeks, or even to a couple months, to really take in that place, which I think is pretty cool. So yeah, that's about it for that update. More on that on the next episode. I think that the next episode is going to be right in my packing stages. So I will explain every detail of my gear. The mission is to leave my 2 front panniers at home. Period. So I just want 2 bags at the back. So with my tent, sleeping bag, electronical gear like my laptop, that kind of stuff at the back. I don't want to carry another backpack on top anymore. I just want to have those 2 panniers and then the one in front, the handlebar bag. And that's it. I really want to try to accomplish that. Traveling lighter actually makes you more flexible, and I think it makes the adventure just so much better, because I've really felt that having this much gear on me limits me to certain to a certain distance. It isn't that maneuverable either, or that flexible. I really want to have that flexibility to go wherever I really want to go. And I think those uphills are really going to get a lot better with just I think half the amount of stuff that I brought on the first bike tour. So that's it for this podcast. I think it went pretty well. But yeah, anyway, if you thought that too, please leave that in the comments down below. If you didn't think that, then leave that in the comments down below as well. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel to see the full story that I'm trying to tell here. Full story of trying to get me all around the world, to every country in the world. I'm trying to say a little bit more, because then the real goal gets a little bit more solidified, because yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to cycle to every single country in the world, not just for the sake of it, but I really try to inspire you guys to follow your dreams, do what you want to do, and especially to help other people out that need it. One more thing I want to say before I sign off here is, yeah, just sometimes you gotta take a moment to stop everything you do, look around, and just take it all in and say, I'm thankful. Because this, I didn't really talk about in this episode, I didn't talk about in this podcast, but this, gratitude, really helped me out, like especially the last 2 weeks, to get me onto positivity again. I do it every morning on the newspapers when I see the sunrise. I'm grateful for everything that I have, basically. Everything that I can do, like everything that I know about how to live and this wisdom that I have. Even though it's not optimal yet, I'm trying to improve on that and just having the opportunity, because I also discussed this in the first episode of Traveling the Good Road podcast with my friend the One Good Road, Joseph, that sometimes you need to stop, take it all in, and just think about, wow, like, it's amazing. It's really, really amazing that we can do these awesome things. We have the chances to do this. We don't have to work our whole lives just to get by. We can do this. That's it for this podcast episode, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya. Bye.